Hello, you are watching a video by the Poker Pop-Up Statistics Workshop. Today we'll have a look at the VENOM package for multi-table tournaments and describe its pop-ups. The first one is the total pop-up. You can use it for more or less unknown players that you don't have much sample on. Here you can see some overall pre-flop stats, reactions to c-bet, various lines for the pre-flop caller in single-raised pot. Down here, the c-bets themselves, how the open raiser plays, and also other lines by pre-flop raiser. That is, how often a player goes check, check, flop, check, check, turn, and how he plays on the river. Folds, calls, raises to our bet, as well as his own bets and bet folds. The next block is for total bets, total bet folds, total raises, aggression percentages and aggression factor, showdowns, complex stats such as bet versus skipped c-bet, how often a person bets if his opponent does not c-bet. And this one here, bet versus skipped c-bet and give up. So how often when he bets after missed c-bet, how often does he give up betting and plays check, check fold on the next street? Here are some overall stats for bet, check, raise, etc. and also stats for giving up after those respective actions. Let's say this person raises and does not bet on the next streets. This means 34% of cases he would not show any aggression on the next streets. The next pop-up is for raise first in. Let's consider the position of button. You can see that the button open raises all in 0.3%, non-all in 33%. If you look at the next four stats, to distinguish them by color, please have a look at this table right here. The green stat is fold to 3-bet non-all in, 46%. Light green, white is fold to 3-bet all in. Blue, 46% is call 3-bet, and red is 4-bet. If you have a large enough sample, you can have a look at your opponent's play by position, against specific positions, or total stats. For cutoff, let's say, here you can see his in position and out of position play. You also have additional blocks here, split by stack sizes, how the player open raises in various stack sizes, non-all-in and all-in. But here comes the most interesting part. On the left side here, you can open the same table, but for a specific stack size of this player. You can click and see how he plays when his stack is less than 12 BB or between 30 and 50 BB. You can also open such tables for his effective stack. Those tables take into account both this player's stack and hero's stack. Let's say he open raises and we 3-bet. This means that the effective stack between us two is 12 to 20 BB. And you can see how he plays in specifically this stack size, or bigger stack size, or smaller stack. Next pop-up versus raise first in, more or less the same, but for the player without the initiative. How he reacts to open raises and subsequent actions. Let's look at the button. 75% fold to open raise non-all-in, 20 call non-all-in to open raise non-all-in, red 3-bet non-all-in, pink 3-bet all-in, and green would be fold to 4-bet. Again, you can choose whether to look at position by position or total stats. The same nested tables for different stack sizes and different effective stack sizes. On the right here, you see additional stats about how the player folds to open shoves or how he calls open shoves. Well, this one's quite peculiar. This means call non-all-in versus a push, which would imply that this player's stack is bigger than his opponent's stack, and his opponent open raises all in. Next we have limp for various stack sizes, both total and by position. Here we can see how a person open limps, limp folds, limp calls, limp 3-bets or limp pushes. his limp fold against isolation shove, and his overlimp or ISO. That is how often he limps along with someone or isolates a player, a limper. Next columns show you the same stats, but for specific stack sizes. Isolation PopUp follows the same principle as raise first in PopUp. You see isolate all in, isolate not all in, and subsequent reactions. How he folds to limp 3-bet, or how he folds to isolation 3-bet. The first two options is for the situation when a limper before him 3-bets, and the last two options for players behind him who acted for the first time. Squeeze PopUp, same thing as raise first in, but for squeezes. You can also have a look at the tables for specific stack sizes. Versus squeeze, same story, same color coding. Looks familiar. The cold PopUp. This includes cold 4-bets and cold call to 3-bets. Position versus position. Next comes steal PopUp, just like raise first in, but for stealing positions. And also versus steal, just like versus RFI, but for later positions. Here we have the limp post flop, and the lines for limp pots on the post flop. The top two blocks are for limped pots, unraised pots. On the left, the player's aggression, on the right, his reaction to aggression. On the bottom left here, limp call preflop, bottom right, limp 3-bet preflop. Also by stack size. Limped pot for small blind, when the small blind open limps against the big blind, and how he continues to play. The first block is for a situation when the big blind checks and does not raise. You can see all of the possible lines for the post-flop play. The second block is limp call, and the third one is limp 3-bet. Next, as raiser out of position. The main block here consists of c-bets, c-bet folds, c-bet 3-bets, skipped c-bets, and reaction to float bets. Check folds, check calls, check raises, check raise bet, check call fold, and so on. Next come more complicated lines, check check on the flop, and then bet, that is delayed c-bet out of position, delayed c-bet out of position and fold to raise, delayed c-bet plus another bet, or bet and then on the river check fold. Right below those stats, you can see the one showdown for those specific lines. You have a lot of different lines right here. Virtually all of the possible lines for the preflop raiser out of position. Let me remind you that those stats are valid for heads up and single raised pots, not for 3-bet pots. On the right here you can find the distribution for various bet sizings. Down here you have a switch for choosing specific positions. You can have total or UTG plus MP or cutoff or small blind, whereas on the top you can choose the specific stack size in big blinds. How a player acts when he has more than 60 big blinds or 26 to 41 big blinds or 9 to 16. Raiser in position, just like raiser out of position, all the same. However, the positions are different. You have UTG, MP, cutoff, and button. You can also choose various stack sizes. Caller out of position, caller in position, similar pop-ups. You can also switch stack sizes and position versus position right here. You can thoroughly analyze the post-flop game by position and by various stack sizes. Multi-way. C-bets in multi-way pots, skip C-bets and folds, as well as reaction to C-bets. How the player reacts to C-bets in multi-way pots. Raises, bets versus missed. Showdown and aggression pop-up. Various showdown stats, when to showdown, one at showdown, one when saw flop. Here we have those total stats, and then a distribution by various types of situations. Limp, single raised pot as raiser as caller, 3-bet pot as raiser as caller, as well as in position out of position. On the right, similar distribution for aggression. Here you have river bets, the percentage, the frequency, won at showdown, after bet river, number of showdowns, and how many hands our opponent won at showdown. Also split by various stack sizes. Also, please keep in mind that all of the bets are not all-in. Those are not river shoves. Shoves are only the last line, and when a bet is over 50% pot, it is considered to be a shove, right here. So these were the bets, and on the right you have reactions to bets. How the opponent reacts to specific sizings on the river, fold, call, raise. So that's total in position, total out of position, and you can also toggle the pot size on the river. Total stats, then you have small pots, smaller than 20 big blinds, and large pots 20 to 50 big blinds. The small block on the left shows the favorite sizing of our opponent. You can see the number of situations for various bet sizings. This player has pushed 7,000 times, but his main sizing, 31k, is 40 to 60% pot. Donking pop-up. Here you have donks for single raised pots, 3-bet pots, as well as split by various sizings. 3-bet pop-up for the caller. How this player acts when he called our 3-bet. Out of position, in position, and split by position at the table. 3-bet for raiser. When this player 3-bets, how he continues out of position, in position, also for various positions, BB versus SB, and so on. That's it. Thank you for your attention.